Hi everybody, Dan Oman here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free, exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING, get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator, exclusively on DRF Bets.
Hi everyone, David Aragona here, taking a look at the feature race at Gulfstream Park on Saturday, the Grade 3 Hurricane Bertie for fillies and mares, going the sprint distance of 6.5 furlongs on the main dirt track at Gulfstream Park, race 7 on their 12-race card there on Saturday. A field of 6 are signed on for this race, and I haven't seen the morning line for this one yet, but I would imagine that the two horses that will vie for favoritism are the number 3, Obligatory, and the number 5, Four Graces, with Obligatory probably being the decisive favorite in this race. She's a horse that is coming off a pretty nice victory in the Grade 3 Chaluki at Churchill Downs, turning back to the 6.5 furlong distance after spending much of her 3-year-old season going a little bit longer out to 1 1/16 miles. But she's a horse that has been successful sprinting in the past. So as she kicks off her 4-year-old season, looking to do so in a winning way in this Grade 3 Hurricane Bertie. Four Graces coming off some good efforts at Gulfstream Park this winter, looking to parlay a couple second-place finishes, though, into a graded stakes victory here. Before we move on to the main contenders, let's take a look at the Timeform US pace projector for this race. Not a ton of speed signed on for this one. The two horses that are shown out towards the front end are the number 1 Brambleberry and the number 6 My Destiny, both horses that do have good tactical speed. I would imagine that number 1 Brambleberry could be the one that secures the front end, since she's done her best running on the lead when she's been successful in her races. So we'll see how fast she has to go to secure the lead from her rail post position. The thing to note, though, about this pace projector is how far back the number 3 Obligatory is shown in a situation predicted to favor horses on or near the lead. So not a favorable pace situation for Obligatory. She's overcome some slow paces in prior races, but she does do her best running when she gets some pace ahead of her, and that might just not happen in this Hurricane Bertie. So something to be aware of with a horse that's likely to be a pretty short price. And speaking of Obligatory, let's take a look at one of her finest efforts from last year. She was second in the Grade 1 Acorn on Belmont Stakes Day back in June of last year. That is her coming into the stretch in 5th place, that gray filly with the pink cap, and she's just going to miss in this race as she takes a good late run at the eventual winner, Search Results, who at this time was among the best 3-year-old fillies in the land. The Search Results in this day was coming off a narrow loss in the Kentucky Oaks, and Obligatory almost gets her coming onto the wire here. She makes a really nice late push to get up into second, losing by just a half length. You could see that's 5 races back in her PPs. Since then, she's tried going longer. She's tried going shorter. She ran 7 furlongs a couple of times without a whole lot of success. She did not run particularly well in the test immediately after that Acorn. Then she tried the 7 furlongs again, 2 back in the Raven Run, and just got a little bit too far back in the pack. Tried to launch a late run, but left herself with way too much to do and finished 6th in that race. She was more successful going the 1-turn mile at Churchill Downs last time, not facing the toughest field that she met in all of last year, but she beat a couple of good horses in that last out victory in the runner-up Matera, and especially the 3rd-place finisher, Miss Bickley, who has since won a stakes this year and was Grade 1 placed last weekend in the Beholder Mile. So Obligatory coming off a good effort, earned a 1:13 Timeform US speed figure when last seen, kind of getting back to that same tier that she achieved when she was second in that Acorn back in June at Belmont Park. So I do think that Obligatory makes a lot of sense in this race from a class standpoint. I'm just a little bit concerned about that pace projector because she comes from way off the pace. That's just her running style in these 1-turn races, and she might not get a lot of help up front. Her main rival does appear to be the number 5, Four Graces. Let's take a look at her last race, when she was a narrowly beaten second in the Grade 2 Inside Information, going 7 furlongs, so she'll be turning back just slightly to the 6.5 in this Hurricane Bertie, and that is Four Graces coming through along the inside in those red silks with the gray cap. Has to alter course around those 2 tiring leaders in mid-stretch, and she's just not quite able to get on even terms with the eventual winner of this race just one time. It should be noted noted just one time, the winner was Much the Best in this inside information. A horse who did not get off to the most alert beginning, had to loop the field going very wide around the far turn, whereas Four Graces saved a lot of ground on the far turn, slipping through on the inside before coming out in the stretch. So I think that Four Graces was decidedly second best that day, but it was still nice to see her take a step forward off her seasonal debut when she was second at a very short price in an allowance race back in January. She improved her time formula speed figure by 12 points last time, up to the 109. That puts her in range of the kinds of numbers that Obligatory was running last year. And it should also be mentioned, Four Graces, if you go back to the 2020 season, was running the kinds of speed figures that would just be untouchable for Obligatory. You can see at the bottom of her past performances, she's got that 123 time formula speed figure showing that she earned in the 8 Bells back in September of 2020. It's been a long time since she's run a speed figure like that, but at one time she had that kind of ability in her. She's had some layoffs since then. You could see those two red layoff lines in her PPs indicating that she was off for quite a while during the 2021 season, but maybe she's cycling back up into top form now that she's putting races back to back for trainer Ian Wilkes, and she does have a bit more tactical speed than Obligatory, so I do believe that she'll get the jump on that foe when the speeds start to come back in this Hurricane Bertie. Another horse coming out of that inside information is Starship Nala, who was fourth that day, finishing about 6 lengths behind Four Graces. Starship Nala, a horse that just seems to be doing pretty well right now. She kind of was running in a lot of those optional claiming races through the summer and fall of last year on this local Gulfstream Park circuit, but she really did step up her game when the tougher horses came to town in January of earlier this year. She actually beat Four Graces 2 back in that allowance race by a nose, and while she was no match for Four Graces last time, she did nevertheless earn a career best 107 time form US speed figure, finishing fourth in that inside information, made a good run after the leaders to contest an honest pace, and just got a little bit leg weary in the late stages. Turning back slightly into the 6.5 furlongs could work to her benefit, but I do think that she's maybe a cut below the top 2 choices on the board from a class standpoint, but could be the kind of horse that picks up the pieces to get into the exotics. Another horse that is coming off a pretty good effort is the number 6, My Destiny. Let's take a look at her victory her last race when she just missed in the Minaret Stakes at Tampa Bay Downs. She's coming into the stretch with a slight lead, and she's going to fend off that runner just to her outside, but she's actually going to get gunned down in the late stages by her stablemate in this race. That is the horse in the white face coming down the center of the track, Drop a Hint, who will just forge past My Destiny in the late stages. This Minaret Stakes, I thought it was a game effort from her, though I think she is stepping up to face a much tougher field in this grade 3 event. She got a reasonably competitive 107 time form US speed figure for that last performance, but the race rating for the race you can see on the left-hand side of your screen in that blue color-coded box, just a 100. The race rating for this Hurricane Bertie is considerably higher than that, so that indicates that My Destiny is stepping up in class quite a bit to face a tougher field here, and she was claimed for just $12,500 only 4 starts ago in November, so she's ascended the class ladder pretty quickly. I think this might just be asking a little bit too much for a horse who's been an overachiever up until this point. One horse that I do want to mention before I throw out my picks is the number 1, Brambleberry. That's the horse that I was kind of highlighting with regard to the pace projector as the potential pace setter in this Hurricane Bertie. And she ran pretty well last time to win at Gulfstream Park, going the same 6.5 furlong distance, did so in gate to wire fashion. Though she only got a 104 time form US speed figure, that's kind of a cut below what's going to be required to be successful in this Hurricane Bertie. But just do note, taking a look at her past performances, she has achieved all of her recent victories when she's been able to secure a clear early lead. She did the same thing 4 and 5 starts back when she won races in October of last year over the same Gulfstream Park course. So she does enjoy being alone up front. We'll see if that happens in this race, but I just feel like some others have a bit more talent than her as she steps up in class. So let's throw my picks for this Hurricane Bertie, taking a small shot against that likely favorite, the number 3, Obligatory, with the horse that I do believe will be the second choice, the number 5, Four Graces. Just think this Ian Wilkes trainee is rounding into form. She ran well last time in the inside information. I think with just a slight step forward, she's going to be right on par with Obligatory. And I do think, based on the way that pace projector looks, she projects to get a better trip than Obligatory, getting the jump on that foe who does like to come from towards the back of the pack. So it's the number 5, Four Graces for me in the Hurricane Bertie on Saturday at Gulfstream Park. Good luck if you're playing the races this weekend.